Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today, we're tackling a really interesting one, Lucid Group. It's a company with some seriously impressive tech, aiming high in the luxury EV space. But, and it's a big but, the financials. Well, they paint a very different picture, a bit of a paradox, really. Can this cutting-edge technology overcome, all that red ink? Or is it a dream, maybe running on fumes? We're going to try and unpack that today. Is now a good time to buy Lucid? Before we get into the thick of it, if you find what we do valuable, maybe take a second to subscribe, leave us a like or a comment. It really helps. And if you're feeling generous, you could even consider buying us a coffee. Your support lets us keep doing these analyses for you. Okay, let's get into Lucid Group. So we're looking at Lucid, a player in that premium EV segment. It's a crowded field. What makes them stand out? What's their unique pitch here?
Well, I think what's really fascinating is their technology. They've got some serious engineering chops. The cars boast an efficiency rating of around 5 miles per kilowatt hour, and get this, a 520-mile range capability. These aren't small numbers. They represent, pretty significant advantages technologically speaking. They're aiming right at Tesla's Model S and those luxury German EVs.
Okay, so that tech definitely sounds impressive. A real edge, potentially. But based on the analysis, how should an investor sort of frame this company initially? What's the basic take?
The consensus from the analysis we've looked at suggests this is really best for speculative long-term investors. That phrase alone, speculative long-term, tells you a lot about the risk profile right off the bat. It's not a conservative play.
Right, speculative. That brings us straight to the financials, doesn't it? The tech sounds great, but how do the fundamentals actually look? Is the foundation solid?
This is where it gets quite concerning, frankly. The profitability metrics are pretty stark. They reported a gross margin of minus 105.7%.
Minus 105.
Negative, which means basically they're losing significant money on every single vehicle they sell, even before other operating costs. The net margin is even deeper in the red, minus 275.7%. That adds up to a trailing 12 months, or TTM, net loss of about $2.4 billion.
Wow.
It's a huge number. And the latest quarterly loss per share was minus $0.24.
Okay, negative gross margin is... That's fundamentally tough.
Yeah.
Is this just, startup growing pains, trying to scale up, or does it point to something deeper, a flaw in the model at this stage?
I think it's probably a bit of both, but the scale of the negative margin suggests it's more than just initial scaling issues. There seem to be some fundamental cost structure problems they really need to wrestle with. It's not just about making more cars, it's making them profitably, or at least much closer to profit.
Is there any brighter news on the balance sheet side, away from the profit and loss?
There are some relative strengths there, yes. The company does have about $1.85 billion in cash and equivalents. That's a decent cushion. And they've got $3.09 billion in working capital. The debt-to-equity ratio around 0.53 seems manageable too. But, and this is important, that cash runway. At their current burn rate, it's estimated at only about 1.1 years.
Only just over a year.
Exactly. So unless things change, they'll likely need to find more financing within the next, say, 12 to 15 months. That definitely raises concerns about future dilution for shareholders.
Right. So, okay, balance sheet strength, but profitability is a huge question mark, and that cash clock is ticking loudly. Given all that, how is the market actually valuing Lucid right now? What do the multiples say?
It's trading at a pretty significant premium compared to some EV peers. For example, you look at NIO, it trades around 0.8 times price to sales. PS ex-Peng is about 2.5 times Lucid. Its PS ratio is way higher at 6.53 times. The industry average is maybe closer to 2x.
So the market's pricing in a lot of future growth and success despite the current losses.
Absolutely. It's valuing that future potential very, very highly. The price to earnings, PE ratio, well, it's NA because there are no earnings. Can't divide by zero or negative numbers here. Their price to book is 2.0xxx, and EV to sales is around 6.36x, still reflecting that premium valuation.
And what about those complex valuation models, like the discounted cash flow ones? Do they support this premium, or are they flashing warning signs?
Generally, the DCF models are flashing warning signs. Multiple analyses suggest significant overvaluation. In fact, because of the sustained losses and negative cash flows, most models actually spit out negative intrinsic values.
Negative value.
Yes. For instance, one analysis from Cantor Fitzgerald, using an 11% cost of capital and 2% long-term growth, came up with a $3 price target, which is above the current price, but still points to challenges. But it's really important to remember, traditional DCF models struggle when cash flows are deeply negative like this. They become less reliable. It suggests valuing Lucid right now is less about precise math and more about belief in their long-term execution.
Okay, so the financials are tough, valuation looks stretched based on fundamentals, but high on potential. Let's look at the stock chart itself. What's the technical picture telling us? Price action, momentum.
The stock's currently trading around $2.16. That's uncomfortably close to its 52-week low of $1.93. It's in a clear downtrend, no question. It's trading about 26.3% below its highs for this year, and technically significant, it's below its 20-day, 50-day, and 200-day simple moving averages. That's generally seen as a bearish signal by chart watchers. The trend is down across multiple time frames.
Okay, below key averages. What about momentum indicators like RSI or MACD?
The RSI Relative Strength Index is around 50. That's pretty neutral territory, not signaling massively oversold or overbought right now. However, the MACD moving average convergence divergence, that's suggesting a slightly bearish sentiment still, leaning towards potential further weakness.
So where are the key levels traders or investors might be watching? Support and resistance.
The immediate support level, sort of a potential floor, looks to be around $1.98. That was a recent low over the last couple of months. On the upside, resistance, where it might struggle to break higher, seems to be around $3, a recent high point.
And volatility.
Oh, it's high. The 30-day volatility is 52.5%.
Yep.
So you need to expect big swings with this stock. It's not a smooth ride. The overall technical setup really suggests continued weakness unless, and it's a big unless, the stock can decisively break back above that $3 resistance level.
Okay, moving beyond the charts and the pure numbers, what about recent news? Any specific developments or just the general market vibe that's affecting Lucid right now?
There have been a few important developments lately. First, they had a Q2 delivery miss for 2025. They delivered just over 3,300 vehicles, but the expectation was closer to 3,600.
It's not insignificant.
Yeah, it implies challenges either in production or demand, or maybe both. Also, there was a big leadership change. Peter Rawlinson stepped down as CEO, and Mark Winterhoff is now interim CEO.
An interim CEO always adds a layer of uncertainty, doesn't it?
It does, especially for a company needing strong, consistent direction. On the product side, production of their new Gravity SUV did start back in December 2024, but reports suggest the ramp-up is slower than initially planned. On a more positive strategic note, they did sign a multi-year deal with Graphite One for U.S.-sourced graphite, which helps secure part of their battery supply chain long-term.
So delivery misses, CEO change, slow SUV ramp.
Yeah.
How are the professional analysts reacting to all this, and what's the general feeling among investors?
Well, the analyst consensus is currently a hold. Out of 12 analysts covering the stock, you've got 2 buys, 8 holds, and 2 sells, so mostly cautious. And quite notably, Bank of America recently downgraded the stock to underperform, setting a $1 price target. That's a pretty bearish call from a major bank, reflecting that growing skepticism.
$1, wow.
Yeah. And sentiment online, social media, retail investors, it seems pretty mixed, leaning towards negative. People are worried about the production scaling, the cash burn. It seems to be outweighing the excitement about the technology for many right now.
Okay, so lots of challenges stacked up. Financials, cash burn, production hurdles, leadership uncertainty. Are there any potential bright spots or catalysts coming up? Anything investors could look towards that might actually, turn things around?
Yes, there definitely are potential catalysts, but they fall into different time frames. Let's break it down. In the short term, say the next 3 to 6 months, the big one is the Q2 2025 earnings call. That's scheduled for August 5th. Everyone will be listening for updates on production guidance. Also, absolutely critical is the delivery ramp-up of that new Gravity SUV. They need to show progress there to hit their 2025 targets. And maybe a smaller factor, the EV tax credit is set to expire September 30th, 2025. That might pull some demand forward in the very near term.
Okay, between the earnings call and the Gravity ramp, which one feels more make or break in the short term?
I'd say the Gravity ramp. The earnings call gives us numbers and talk, but seeing those SUVs actually get delivered consistently, hitting production goals, that's the real proof they can execute. That's what could really shift sentiment.
Makes sense. Execution is key. What about further out, medium term?
Looking medium term, maybe 6 to 18 months out, a big one is the launch of their midsize platform. That's planned for late 2026. This is aimed at a lower, though still premium, $50,000 price point. That could really open up their market significantly. Also important is the continued ramp-up of their factory in Saudi Arabia, AMP2, aiming for 150,000 units annual capacity. That's crucial for global scale. And don't forget potential revenue from licensing their tech. The partnership with Aston Martin is an example that could become a meaningful non-car sales revenue stream.
And longer term? beyond 18 months?
Long term, say 1 to 3 years plus, it all comes down to achieving profitability. That means hitting scale, driving down costs significantly. It's the ultimate goal. Continued development in autonomous driving is also key to staying competitive long term, and potentially expanding beyond cars into energy storage or grid services, leveraging their battery tech. That could be a whole new chapter.
All right, so connecting all these pieces, the tech promise, the financial hurdles, the catalysts, the market. What are the absolute core risks investors need to keep top of mind if they're looking at Lucid?
The risks are significant, and you really need to weigh them carefully. Let's group them. First, company-specific risks. The biggest is that severe cash burn coupled with the limited runway. They will likely need more money, which means potential dilution or more debt. Then there are the ongoing production scaling problems. Missing targets consistently erodes confidence. Remember, they only hit about 30% of their 2025 target in the first half. That's way off track. Those negative gross margins point to fundamental cost issues that aren't easily fixed, and the interim CEO situation adds strategic uncertainty.
Okay, those are internal challenges. What about external factors?
Right, sector-specific risks. The whole EV market growth is slowing down. In the U.S., growth dropped from maybe 40% down to 10%, so the pie isn't growing as fast, and competition is intensifying. You've got Tesla, the legacy automakers are finally bringing competitive EVs, plus strong Chinese manufacturers entering global markets. It's a brutal competitive landscape. And supply chain issues or tariffs impacting costs are always a background threat for any automaker right now.
And the wider economy, macro risks.
Definitely. Macroeconomic risks play a big role. Higher interest rates make financing EVs more expensive for consumers, potentially dampening demand. Policy is a factor, too. Changes to EV incentives or regulations can swing the market, and tariffs, especially if trade tensions rise, could hike costs by maybe 8–15%, making profitability even harder to reach.
So, putting it all together, the tech promise versus the mountain of risks and challenges. What's the final word for our listener? Is Lucid a buy now? What's the recommendation?
Look, at the end of the day, Lucid Group is a high-risk, high-reward proposition. It's purely speculative. It's really only suitable for long-term investors who have a very high tolerance for risk and volatility, and who truly believe in the company's technology and eventual ability to execute. The potential is there, based on the tech and the brand positioning. But the execution risks and the cash constraints create very significant downside potential.
So if someone does fit that high-risk profile and is considering it, any thoughts on entry strategy or position sizing?
Based on current technical levels, an entry range might be somewhere between $1.90 and $2.20 near that recent support, but position sizing is absolutely critical here. Given the high volatility, I wouldn't suggest more than, say, 2–3% of a well-diversified portfolio. This is not a bet the farm stock. And the time frame has to be long, minimum 3 to 5 years, to give the story time to potentially play out.
What about short-term trading?
Honestly, for short-term traders, the risk-reward seems pretty unfavorable right now because of the volatility and the downtrend. It's easy to get chopped up. If someone were determined to trade it very speculatively, maybe a tight stop loss below support, say $1.85, and look for a bounce towards resistance around $2.83, but that's extremely risky.
So the final verdict?
My final verdict is that Lucid is best viewed as a long-term speculative bet on technological differentiation and eventual market scale-up. It's not for conservative investors. It requires enormous improvements in execution, especially on cost control and production ramp, and almost certainly needs more financing to justify even its current valuation. Monitor those key points relentlessly. Delivery numbers each quarter, cash burn rates, the gravity ramp, and any sign of progress towards positive gross margins. Those are the vital signs.
That really was a thorough breakdown of Lucid Group. It's so clear the amazing tech promise is there, but wow, the path to actually scaling and becoming profitable looks incredibly challenging, loaded with risk. It makes you think, for companies like Lucid in this premium EV space, what's the single most crucial factor for long-term survival? Is it nailing the tech, securing endless funding, winning market share quickly, or maybe something else entirely? That's something to ponder beyond just today's numbers. Thank you for joining us for this analysis. We really hope it gave you some valuable perspective for your own investment thinking. Until next time.